Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the PC Elitist. My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd.
And today is the day for news. It's the Monday news segment. I'm pretty excited about it.
As you should be.
So the last week in news, the big news story going on right now. I don't even know if this is last week. Did this just happen today?
The articles we've been seeing about it have all been coming out today.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think this
it's the first day of CES, I believe, was yesterday, actually.
Oh, really?
That's when it was announced. So it's kind of like newspapers. The news doesn't get out until the next day.
Right. So
it is fresh.
Right. The big news is it is raining Steam machines right now.
It really is. And there are a lot of manufacturers in the game right now.
Right. I think 13 in total were revealed.
Yes, they are. Alienware, Alternate, CyberPower PC, Digital Storm, Falcon, Gigabyte, iBuyPower, Material.net, Next, Origin, Scan, WebHolland, and Zotac.
Zotac is my favorite.
Yes, and there are we have links to all these stories, and one of the ones we're showing you shows a few samples of some of these boxes, big and small. The Zotac one looks like a 4-port switch or a router.
Right.
Some of them are just big white cubes. But yeah, it is pretty amazing. Just not just the number of them, but the vast range in robustity that we're seeing.
Right. I mean, like the prices, some are to be determined, but it's like $500 for the iBuyPower one.
The Zotac router, $600.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The Falcon can go up to $6,000 depending on the customizations. You can get the one I'm most excited to see. My favorite right now is the Digital Storm box for about $2,600. But the one I'm most excited to see is Origins, which is called Kronos. It is going to support up to you can dual Nvidia Titan this thing, 14 terabytes of storage. And
My God.
The ability to dual boot, so you can have the Linux-based SteamOS and then Windows 7 or Windows 8 if you want to switch on the fly. And then they all come with the Steam controller. So I think it's very exciting to see these boxes come out and just kind of like in WoW. You remember on a brand new server, or when there was an expansion and a new mineral would come out.
Right.
And when it first came out, the prices were just way out of whack, and people didn't know what the value was. But eventually, you just saw this great fluctuation in the value of different things.
Right.
I just wonder if we'll see that when these hit the market. If you're going to kind of see the stratification of the lower end people buying the $400, $500, $600 box, then you'll have people who just want to they have their own gaming PC already, but they're going to want a $5,000 Steam box.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering because they're like little consoles, a lot of them,
Very powerful though.
Right, very powerful.
They're really more like little computers that are built solely for Steam.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if the novice user would just, when you're looking at they know what a Xbox is, they know what a PlayStation is, and then you have 13 and probably more by the time these things are on the shelves, like different Steam boxes. For the just the general public, will this just be too confusing? Like, what are all these different boxes for?
Yeah. Well, people understand that the core technology is the same. You're just getting a different flavor of it. But it's similar with, right now, if you want to buy a graphics card, you're getting, it's the same card. It's like the 780 or, even the 670 or the 575, whatever card. It's just made by different manufacturers.
Right.
Just like motherboards. So I think people who are in the know in hardware will understand. But I think you're right. People may think, oh, is it kind of like Microsoft and Sony, where they put out a console, but they aren't compatible with each other.
Right.
And I think that there may be a learning curve there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'd be interested to see going into an electronics store and seeing them on the shelf. I love this Nextbot one. It has an X on it. It looks like the original prototype of an Xbox kind of reject. It's hilarious. But anyway, I'm curious to see how these are going to sell and how much the general public will pick them up, because all of us in the PC world kind of know what we're looking at when we're reading specs and understand what they're for. It'll be interesting. I really love, like I said, I just love people have mixed feelings on the Steam OS and this whole movement, but I just love the apple cart being turned on its side and just stuff is happening,
Yeah.
There's Steam boxes coming out and we have an OS. It's fun. I
Yeah.
like it.
It's a great time to be a nerd.
Yeah, it really is. This Alien one looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're going to move away from that, something being built up, and into something that might be falling apart.
Your transitions for these new weekend reviews are really great.
Chilingo founders become the latest devs to leave EA. They're jumping ship.
Yes, apparently there have been several, not so much like EA executives, but executives of companies that EA has bought
Right.
are leaving en masse. There have been several that have left in this last week.
The slaves are leaving the plantation.
Wow. Joe Wee and Chris Bayat, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but we'll call it Bayat.
Right.
Bayati have left Chilingo and EA. Chilingo is a company that was started in 2005, and Joe and Chris were part of the original Angry Birds and Cut the Rope creations. Chilingo was acquired by EA in 2010 for about $20 million, and it seems like Joe and Chris just don't like the direction that this development is going with regard to what's being done with what their company was. And then also earlier in the week, PopCap, who developed Plants vs. Zombies and Peggle and a bunch of other really fun, simple games, Dave Roberts, who was a chief of that company, has left. And then Alex Ward and Fiona Sperry, who worked on the Burnout and Need for Speed series, left as well. So you're seeing a bit of a mass exodus happen. And if you read the comment section on any of these articles, the one I'm particularly looking at that I got all this information from is IGN. And the comment section is rife with people just saying this is a sign of the end times. The end is nigh for EA. But I do think it's interesting because it's like a lot of. It reminds me a lot of the Call of Duty series. It sells like crazy. EA has ridiculous profit numbers.
Right.
But the general consensus is on the word on the street is, oh, everything they do sucks. They would keep winning the Golden Poo Award.
Right, yeah. It's weird to have a company that's as massive as they are, and they make entertainment. All they do is make video games to entertain people, and people hate them. It's kind of astounding, but I don't know. I think EA, for the most part, embodies and does. It's kind of their own fault. They seem to follow this trend of, how people think of big companies, big mean companies, and EA seems to be guilty of everything that big mean companies do at some point or another.
Yeah, they're being blamed for things that like big finance companies are doing. EA just kind of takes the crap for every other big company as far as gamers are concerned. It's kind of like the way I feel about Bethesda.
I like the idea of like EA like studios, they're software developing, but they're still somehow like polluting the rivers around the EA plant.
Yeah, strangling kittens and that sort of thing.
Right. So that's interesting. Again, like I don't know. It's fun to watch this stuff kind of evolve. What is the issue? Why is everyone kind of jumping ship? Is it because maybe they're finding these founders are finding other alternatives to, they don't need to be part of a big company to release a game anymore because the industry is opening up. So why be part of like a big bureaucracy, right? Just leave and do your own thing.
Yeah,
might be just something as simple as that. Let's move on to another story with hardware.
That transition.
I know, that one was terrible. That one was horrible.
Another.
I was another story. So this is interesting. Nvidia.
This one I'm actually most excited about.
Nvidia. This one? You can announce. No, you can do it.
Okay, like as excited as I am about the Steam machines, I think that's wonderful. But I think I find this the most interesting, and this also is being talked about on many different sites. But Nvidia actually on its own website has a great press release that they had yesterday. Their Kepler architecture that they use to power the GTX 780 they're based on that architecture. They have developed the Tegra K1 mobile processor. It's got 192 cores, and what they're claiming that it will bring Xbox One and PS4 level graphics to mobile devices, and that this processor will consume the same amount of power as current gen processors. So they're saying they're going to massively pack in more graphical performance without having an increased heat signature.
Right.
And it's going to be available in 32-bit versions in the first half of this year, 64-bit in the second half of this year. And I just think this is so fascinating. And the CPU, it's codenamed Project Denver right now, and it uses single and multi-threads. And the article we're posting has the most of the technical details for the technophiles out there. I'm not a tech head, so don't get into very advanced discussions with me on the on the engineering aspects of this. But I just find this so fascinating that Nvidia clearly has a strong presence in the PC gaming market, and the technologies that they help innovate kind of branch out into all other, and not just in gaming, but anyone who works in visual arts, and even running supercomputers, and even hackers who want to have brute force password cracking machines use a lot of GPUs, and Nvidia frequently is used as well. But I just think it's interesting that Nvidia is trying to say, no, we want to dominate the mobile gaming space as well, and bring
Right.
the most intense graphical experience to mobile gaming.
Yeah, it's interesting how I mean the PS4 and the Xbox One has been out for how long? A month, maybe
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And then Nvidia just says, "Well, our new
We're
chip
gonna
will."
make that we're gonna make that standard on mobile devices.
Now, here's where I always get tripped up. Like, I just kind of refuse to believe that little mobile device can push the same graphics as like something that's in my big giant
Right.
PC,
Right.
right? And it says like same graphics features. I'm sure some tech person
Right.
could explain this to me. How there's features in an engine like DirectX 11 and whatnot, and a ton of
Well,
other
I'm
features.
thinking it's more like they both can do tessellation, but a
Yeah,
console
exactly.
does it better than mobile devices. Yeah, so
Right.
I'm not saying like, oh, I'm excited to see the exact same graphics
Right.
on my iPhone that I could on a console, but I just think from the standpoint of technological innovation, the fact that we're even having this conversation, and of course the company making the claim is they're going to be as kind of hyperbolic as possible. But I
Right.
just think the ability to take this technology and scale it downward to a
Hmm.
mobile device speaks just wonders of the technological age that we're in right now. So even if this, and I have a healthy skepticism about this, even if this doesn't turn out to be as impressive as they're claiming,
Nope, it'll be just as impressive.
I think that it'll be really interesting to see what I'm most kind of excited to see is, will mobile gamers care? To what extent will they care? Like, is it going to be a deal breaker? Is someone who kind of doesn't have a preference or prefers one gaming medium over another, one platform, are they going to be suddenly drawn to mobile gaming more because of better graphics? Is someone who considers themselves a casual gamer going to get more into it because of graphics? I want to see, if all things being equal right now, if suddenly the graphics are significantly improved,
Right.
what impact will that have on the sub industry of mobile gaming? Because you have people like the developers of the Oculus Rift saying that people don't really care about visual fidelity anymore, and that's one of the things we want to change. We want to show them what is possible with something like the Oculus.
You
So I
know,
think that we PC gamers have been used to innovations in graphics year over year over year for the
mhm.
last several years. And so I just want to see what happens when you introduce that to a different subcategory of the industry.
I wonder how, because of the lifespan that the console cycle is on, what are we looking at? Like another 10 years?
Mhm.
Or, like 6 to 10 years with these particular consoles. We just started, right? We're a month in.
Mhm. Yeah, start the
And
clock.
start the clock. And the tablets and phones, they move pretty fast. It
Yeah.
just, the new phone, a new phone, a new tablet, a new tablet.
Yeah, I knew people who had the Galaxy S3, and it seemed like immediately the S4 was being talked about. It's the same with the iPhone. Every
Right.
time the new iPhone comes out, iPhone 5 came out, you already saw articles about what Apple was planning on doing for the iPhone 6.
Right.
And that wasn't even the next gen. They had the 5C coming out. So I agree that the smartphone space, which is the dominant mobile gaming space, it's tablets, smartphones, and then the handheld gaming devices are kind of in this kind of purgatory right now.
They're dead.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I had a great experience and we'll do a video about our experiences at VGCX
Right, exactly.
with handheld devices. But yeah, I think it will be very interesting to see which mobile devices exactly we're talking about. Is the PlayStation Vita going to come out with the next generation that includes this technology, and suddenly you're going to see people care about it more, or is it really just going to be our phone manufacturers going to say, we want phones to be so many things. Do we want to include this Kepler architecture?
Right.
Do we want to include the Tegra K1 processor into our phones? I want to know how pervasive will this be in the smartphone market, or will it be more along the lines of tablets and handheld gaming devices?
Right. Well, we're going to need our mobile devices when we move to China, right?
Yes. No, not when we move to China, but when they ultimately surpass us economically and we are assimilated into their products. So it's not, so we become the mass consumers of China on an individual basis.
Right. Start transferring your dollars into yuans right now.
Yes.
But more importantly, the Chinese gaming market, as reported here on Games Industry, has topped $13 billion.
Yeah, they've been seeing immense growth. Their economy itself is already growing about 9 to 11% year over year. Their gaming revenues are growing 38% year over year.
Right.
And as you said, it's now topped 13 billion. And that includes a lot of PC games. About 65% of that market is PC gaming.
Right.
15% browser based, and then they also have social and console gaming in there as well. But you and I said when Mists of Pandaria was being trailered, you and I said, well, there goes the Chinese gaming
Where
market.
are they going? Where are they? Who are they appealing to here?
Yeah, it's like when any Sprite or 7-Up commercial you see, you know exactly who they're trying to cater to. But yeah, so I think that this is, but that's the thing. 13 billion as a part of their economy is kind of pretty weak. Like 13 billion in our economy is, as a part of our GDP, which is in the trillions. 13 billion is not really there, but I just think it's really cool to see almost 40% year over year growth in such a massive market.
Right. Well, I'm just saying we could have a discussion on, the Chinese politics, social politics, but they're PC gamers, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they got that going for them.
That part of the world is heavily saturated with StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
It's not just Korea. There's a huge market for it in China as well.
And MOBAs, like, League of Legends.
Oh, yeah.
Massive. I think LOL took over kind of a lot of that territory that StarCraft had. I think League of Legends is just the biggest thing going right now.
Yeah, which directly prompted Blizzard to make Heroes of the Storm.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
And if you want to fight back against League of Legends, by the way, Heroes of the Storm is in beta. Go sign up for it right now.
When's the last time? We'll end with this. When's the last time Blizzard followed trends? Heroes of the Storm was obviously what was it called? Heroes of the Storm. Sorry.
Yes. It's so different from Heart of the Swarm. How can you confuse it with Storm?
Heroes of the Swarm. It's interesting, because they've been on their own track, I feel like. It's Blizzard is Blizzard, and now this is the first move, I think, in a long time where they go, well, we need to have an answer for this.
Other than Mists of Pandaria, you mean?
Well, they were being drawn by market forces, but
right.
As an actual gameplay style.
Seeing a competitor and reacting to it.
Yeah, for so long people were trying to be like WoW, and now Blizzard is making a game to be like League of Legends.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty impressive accomplishment for Riot Games.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, that's our news segments for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please thumbs it up or leave a comment on any of these subjects we have here tonight. And please subscribe if you're so inclined to hear our voices once more. My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd. This is the PC Elitist signing out.